everyone, it's Kay Mirage.
And I'm Sharon Roy.
And welcome to Brevard Realty Buzz. Yay.
Hey! Okay, we're back for another week.
Yeah, how are you doing, Sharon?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. It was a good week last week. Pretty hectic, busy.
Yes.
I know you're working on some stuff that's going to come to you soon, right?
Yes.
So you're in the market for something special. And Sharon's going to have something special going on for you. But I hope you guys had a wonderful week. Of course, this is Brevard's most insightful, an educational space where you can learn about Brevard real estate, and of course, when you're buying, selling, or investing, what to expect here in Brevard. So we're going to be your guide today.
That's right. So today, what do you want to talk about, Kay?
Well, one of the things is that we started last week, in case you saw, that we had top 3 things to do in a city.
Right.
All right. So that series is called Top 3 Things to Do in Brevard County. Well, the city that we're picking today is
Melbourne.
Melbourne, beautiful Melbourne.
Right.
Now, of course, people look, I talk to customers all the time, and they're like, the first thing they'll know Melbourne. It just has a lot to do in Melbourne.
Yes,
a lot of things happening, we have the airport, there's so much things. But we're going to pick 3 things for you to do when you come to Melbourne.
Right.
First on the list, I love the outdoors. I love to do stuff outside. One of the things is historic downtown Melbourne. Now, this is a space where, it's the nightlife.
Yes,
especially in Southern Brevard, it's the nightlife. If you want restaurants, if you want bars or anything like that, this is the space to come.
Live bands.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's really nice. People talk about their downtown, but I think this one is a little quaint and nice. Plus, there's boutiques, again, restaurants, so much to do.
Correct.
So I would say if you're looking for something special, nightlife or even in the daytime, for all family members, I think everybody can enjoy, and they have festivals and stuff here. So nothing short to do. Make sure you're coming down to downtown Melbourne. Historic downtown Melbourne as one of the things you do here.
And if you want to meet a great realtor, we're located in downtown.
I love that.
Downtown Melbourne.
Exactly. So we're located in downtown Melbourne. That's why we kind of love it so much. There's so much to do. If you're meeting a customer for drinks, there's coffee, walking distance
to everything. So
yeah,
I highly recommend downtown Melbourne.
Yes. Next on the list,
the Hennegar Center. I love the Hennegar Center. It's located on 625 East New Haven, and it has many plays.
Yeah, I love the performing arts.
I do too.
I love going to a good play.
Musicals, I just love it. And it's not a huge theater. It is a small theater. It's open. I believe the office hours is Tuesday through Friday.
Okay.
The tickets are very affordable, low price tickets, and no matter where you sit in the Hennegar Center, you can see the stage.
And that's what I love about that too. Do you know what they're playing? What's playing now?
Oh, they just completed the Divas. That ran for a few weeks, and now Sweeney Todd is coming up, and November we have the musical A Christmas Story.
I was so watching
that.
I mean, it doesn't matter who's putting it on. I go to and watch that Christmas
Story. So
all the time.
I mean, they have great rates. I mean, you can get season passes, 4 shows for $160.
Wow.
5 shows, $200. 6 shows, $240. It's a great night out for you and your family.
And you have to support local arts.
Oh, yes.
You have to support local theater. So definitely that's something to do. And third on the list, as you know from last week, I love the great outdoors. I love that. And I have on my list, it's the Joy and Garden Patterson Botanical Gardens located here at Florida Tech University. And this is a public garden, free to go in. There's fauna. I didn't know this, the level. There's a stream running through it, Sharon. There is just amazing flora and fauna. There is so much to do. Plus, this spot you can just relax, read a book, and enjoy. So it's, bustling city. Just go there. Again, it's free of cost. So that is the Botanical Gardens at Florida Tech.
It
Definitely
sounds
something.
like it's a good place to have a wedding. If you're looking for a wedding venue.
I don't know if they do weddings. They should.
But they sound like,
yeah. And there's so much trails. I remember going through, we're just going through different
Okay.
trails. I enjoy that. So butterflies, there's so much stuff to do. So again, this is something free. You can just go in and just breathe a little bit.
Yes.
And the
Stay
bugs,
in the fresh air and the bugs.
the bugs are a little far away. So you can come.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Sharon Roy, and you're watching Brevard Realty Buzz.
All right. So, of course, this week is all about buyers.
Yes,
right?
buyers.
So, whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned buyer, or investor, we're going to get you covered. And today we want to talk about that process.
Yes.
Especially when we meet first-time home buyers, right? They're like, okay, what the steps, to do it, because sometimes you get into this deep and you're like, wait. So we want to give you the 9 steps to make sure that you are not only educated, but ready for the process of buying a home.
Yes.
All right.
So what's the first step in buying a home?
The first step in buying a home is making sure you find the right agent, AKA us. We're the right agents. And Sharon.
With Florida Results Realty.
Absolutely.
Realty
The
results.
We provide the results. So the first thing that you want to do is to get an agent.
Yes, find an agent.
Find an agent that will be able to work for you. And like I always say, after that, there's nothing else to do, because the right agent will take care of everything.
Yes,
for you.
we will. We will.
But in case,
in case you don't work with us, which we hope you do, you prepare your finances.
Definitely. We want to make sure that you buying a home is not free, right? So you want to see where you are in terms of, do you have funds in the bank? Am I currently working? Would I be able to get a gift from someone? What do I have in terms of to put as a down payment on the home? Am I buying cash?
Yes.
Right? Do I have that cash? So once you find your agent, number 2 is getting your finances together. Number 3,
we connect you with a lender.
Yes.
And get pre-approved.
Get pre-approved. Now, the good thing today is that we have someone special who's going to talk a little bit about that.
Yes,
so make sure you
do.
Stick around, because we have a really, really good lender who's going to explain us the ins and outs of getting pre-approved.
Yes.
All right. Next up is
start our home shopping.
Yes, because once you have some money in the bank, you have your agent, and you've gotten pre-approved, and that pre-approval will tell you how much house you can buy, right? We start the home shopping part of it. However, what's going to happen? What they need to do, they have to sign.
They have to sign the buyer's broker's agreement.
Of course, before we can take you into a home, the new rules state that we need to sign that buyer broker's agreement that discuss compensation for the agent that's working with you.
Correct.
Okay. Then once you find the home that you love,
yes.
When you walk into that home, I've seen buyers walk into the home, right? And you're like, this is it.
Yes.
Cancel all my other appointments.
Oh, yes. That has definitely happened.
Yes.
A few times. If you're a good realtor, you can find that home for your client, and they will stop in their tracks. All right, let's make an offer, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So making an offer is our next step. So once you go in, you see that home, the agent will work with you to put an offer together, one that has terms that you are in agreement with, time frames, and whatever you want to offer on that property. If you want to offer full price, over asking, a little bit less, whatever it is, that agent will work with you to put that offer together.
Correct. And once your offer is accepted,
yes,
then we go to the next process.
Of course, the inspection. So
yes.
This is critical, right? Some people.
Oh, yes.
Some people think, I've gotten customers who's like, my cousin is knows is a handyman, knows something. We always recommend having a professional inspector go through your home. Their job is to find out everything that's wrong with the home.
Correct.
And they'll go through, and if you have a good inspector, will go through all the little things to make sure that you are fully aware of what that home has, whatever issues it has, or if it's just perfect.
Right.
Never
So
really happens, but,
exactly.
yeah.
So if you renegotiate based off your home inspection, then as an agent, we would submit whether we want to take a reduction in price or we want to get repairs done, or sometimes the worst, cancel the offer.
Absolutely. And that has happened many times. The goal is to make sure that you are happy with the home, that whatever is if there's something wrong with the home, say for example, the AC is not working or plumbing issues, what you want to make sure is that you're renegotiating to make sure those things are fixed. If you're okay with whatever the items on the list, because you can't fix every single thing,
correct,
but whatever you're okay with, well, you can fix after. However, we always recommend some of those big things you want to, go and negotiate, make sure, and I know we always do that, make sure that the home is in a condition that's financeable. Actually.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And you'll find out whether certain things, can actually fly, because we want to make sure that you have a home that you can actually move into, that you're comfortable with, if that's what we're looking for you.
Right. And once we complete that whole inspection process, then we have the lender order the appraisal.
Yes, the appraisal. Now, this is very important, because sometimes if the home does not appraise, and that means the value, what you purchased the property for, the value of that property, when it's appraised value need to be either same or a little bit off.
Right.
When it's a little bit less or much less, then we have to go back to the negotiating table.
Correct.
Because one, your lender may not move forward with the loan because one, it's less than the appraised than your offer price.
Right.
So you have to determine, can I make that difference up? So if it's say $1,000 different, which kills me, because I had a customer that was $900 and something different. It was ridiculous. Right. So, but my buyer was able to say, okay, no problem, we'll meet that. But if it's something more significant,
correct,
then you may want to say, hey, I want to renegotiate for the appraised value, or I have to cancel because now I can't afford
the house. Right.
Or you figure out if you can do something there, or negotiate, meet them 50%, whatever it is. Your agent will negotiate on your behalf to make sure that's something that you can move into, or sometimes you have to walk away.
So let's say the appraisal appraised. It appraised. Yay! So now what do? We get ready to move.
Pack the kids up, pack things up. It's time to get into the new home. So we move to closing. In the back end, just so you're aware, certain things are taking place. Sometimes you have to order a survey for the property.
Yes.
Sometimes if it's a HOA, there's some estoppel things you have to make sure that's ordered as well.
Yes.
The title company is working also in the back end, getting your title commitment. So those are some things that are happening in the back end. The lender is working in the back end to make sure that what you said you worked, you did. They're doing all those things in the back to make sure we got insurance for you.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that we put in there too, is that the way Florida is right now, you're making sure that you have insurance that is that you can, that's affordable, right? Yeah. And of course, make sure it covers all what you're looking for, and also meets the criteria of the lender as well.
Yes.
So those are some of the tips. And then when you start prepare the moving, the day for closing arrives.
That's right. We close. Yes.
Now, typically, here we do closing within 30 to 45 days.
Correct.
A lot of it is going to depend on your lender and the title company, how quickly they're able to get things done. So I've seen lenders do anything from 21 to 15 days, 20 days.
Yes.
So again, it depends on buyer. You got to provide your information to your lender, but also it depends on title. The other seller, are they able to move right away to accommodate it? But typically, you can expect 30 to 45 days to close. Then we go to the closing table, day of closing. If you're closing in person, you sign that dotted line, signing that you are going to pay the mortgage every single month, and then we close. is.
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit complicated, but you have an agent with you to guide you
Every
through that
step
process.
of the way.
Any
Yes.
questions you have, of course, we are always here to help.
Mm-hmm.
But I told you earlier
Yes, you did.
that I sure did, that we're going to have someone special here to talk to us a little bit about the mortgage process. And I want to invite none other than the famous Bryant Stuckey. How
Hey,
are you?
Bryant.
How you doing today?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. Now, tell us, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about the company you work with.
Well, my name is Bryant Stuckey. I work with SWBC Mortgage. I've been doing mortgages for just over 25 years now. So lots of experience, lots of communication, lots of consulting. That's the big part of the process. Don't just get online and, well, I read, talk. I love
Those internet sleuths trying to get that they learn everything online. Now we do have a few questions for you. Today, of course, we're dealing with buyers, and we talk about, we just mentioned a lot about the process, right? The buying process. Now, one of the parts in the buying process was, of course, connecting with you to see how they can get pre-approved. Now, what's the first question you have for Brian?
So, Brian, what is a first-time buyer? What are the steps for a first-time home buyer when they're looking to buy a home? What do you suggest?
Well, one thing is always call, like I said, consultation, have a communication, just to talk through the process a little bit to make you comfortable with it. But there's three big aspects when you're ready to have that conversation that you need to know. The biggest thing is always credit. Credit doesn't mean you have to have an 800 credit score. You can have hiccups. You can have some problems. So if your score is low or if it's high, that's fine. Either way, we can find options for you, but understanding your own credit helps some.
So credit is number one. What's the lowest credit score you can have?
Right now, we have options where we can go for down to 580.
Okay.
Nice. Okay, 580 credit
That's a pretty
score.
low credit score. So if you still have 580 or higher, you have options.
Of course. And number two?
Is going to be your income. I know that sounds simple in some cases, but depending if you're self-employed or if you get commissions or bonuses, some people make X amount a year, you're easy. Have your W-2s, have your pay stubs available. So when we're talking about your income, we're setting expectations appropriately.
Absolutely. And the third?
Is how much money do you have to use? Now, I know a lot of people think that you can do it with absolutely no money. That's not necessarily true, but there are loans where you can have down payments as low as zero. There's down payment assistance, and then we can just go from there. So if you have more money to use, great. We'll figure out how much is best to use for you, but you can have options for very low amounts of money and be able to purchase a home.
Okay, that sounds good. So,
Go ahead.
what types of loans do you have, or should buyers be looking for?
That's really going to be scenario by scenario driven. I mean, we do, your typical government loans, first-time home buyer loans, down payment assistance. Are you purchasing an investment property, a vacation home? I've got an array of different loan types. So it'll just depend scenario by scenario. So we're really going to want to have that conversation of which one will be best for you. So, but I've got the basis covered for about 90% of anything you're going to need.
Okay.
Now we know we've been watching the news, Brian, and we've seen interest rate is, down 0.5%, and a lot of people get excited. Now, how does that really affect a mortgage?
That is one of the more confusing things, because when the Fed comes out and says, hey, the prime rate's gone down 50 basis points, 0.5%, those don't directly relate to your mortgage interest rates. Those relate to the money the bank borrows to lend to you for cars, for RVs, for boats, credit cards. So you should see credit card interest rates coming down 0.5%. Awesome. But that 0.5% doesn't when it comes to mortgages, because money from mortgages are typically backed by different entities, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, some government backed. So they have a slightly different approach if it does or doesn't actually bring down the interest rates. Now, in this case, it did bring them down, but not 0.5%, but they are much better today than they have been in the previous months.
Okay.
So, off the top, and I'm not sure if you know today, do you know what the interest rate is as of today, 9/23?
Well, depending, and I'm not going to get too much into it, if you want to pay points or if you do special buy downs, there's ways to get your rates lower. But if you just take it at face value today, you're sitting in the low sixes, which is
Okay.
good because just 8 weeks ago, we were back up over 7%. And
Yes.
fortunately, over the past 18 months, it's been very volatile. So week to week, you're going to hear different numbers. And, over the years that I've done this, rates never do get and stay at one specific point. So to say, they're not always going to be at 6 every week. Sometimes every 2 or 3 days, they can go up, they can go down. So when you're hearing what a rate is, that's what it can be today. But in the future, that can vary, sometimes in your favor, sometimes not. Timing is a big part of that.
Okay.
So it's best to lock in a rate
As soon as you can.
as soon as you can.
If it's low,
If
right?
it's a good
If
rate.
low rate.
Yeah, typically if the rates are good like they are today, if anybody's looking to do something today and close within 30 days, yeah, you would want to go ahead and lock today. But if you can't lock if you're not under contract typically. But if you've got 30 or 60 days to wait it out, there are indicators this time that we could get a little bit better. So I would wait and see. I wouldn't lock today if you had more than 30 days, but who knows in the grand scheme of things. People want to wait till next year and see what happens, and nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It could be, yeah, who knows?
Up. So yeah, I'm not saying sit on the sidelines and wait. It's still better to own a home than continually pay rent and get nothing out of it. And you can refinance down the road. There's multiple things you can do. Once you have your house, your financing can be flexible down the road based on your abilities.
Okay, good.
So what are some upfront costs that buyers need to be aware of?
There's not a lot of upfront costs, and you did touch on some of those earlier in the video here. You need your money for your inspections. That's a huge piece right there. That's something you have to pay for up front. And with mortgages, typically the only other thing you're paying for up front with us is for your appraisal. So really you need money for your appraisal, for your inspections, and then whatever's necessary for your initial escrow deposit for your contract. So much more than that isn't necessary.
Okay, so in terms of closing costs, so people hear closing costs and trying to figure out what's included typically in closing costs.
In closing costs, you've got whatever your typical lender fee is. There's always going to be something for like a processing and an underwriting fee. There can be an extra fee when I said if you're talking about rates and you want to buy down to a lower rate, depending if you choose to do that or not, that could be a fee that's in there. But the biggest part of your closing costs that are coming up anymore is actually setting up what's called your escrow account. Because if you're not putting down 20% initially, there's a little savings account that's set aside that we pay your taxes and insurance for you. And at closing, the biggest expense is prepaying that 12 months of homeowners insurance. So that can be anywhere $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 and up, depending what the policy is you find. And then we also set aside another 3 months for homeowners insurance and 3 months to go towards paying for your property taxes. So that's the bulk of the closing costs that you're going to come up with. And those are all things that can be paid at closing when the closing happens. Those aren't all necessarily fees that you have to come out of pocket with up front.
Okay, that sounds good, Bryant.
Thank you so much. Now, sometimes we put as much money we can in savings, right? We're packing the savings, but still a little bit short. Can we get a gift? Some money, great Aunt Susie, wants to give me a gift, or grandma wants to give me a gift. Is that something possible.
Yep, money can be used. It's called gift money, and it can come from family. Has to be family, and I would definitely say have a conversation with me or whoever you're using for your mortgage about ways to do it, because you can't just turn around, hand them cash, you deposit that in your account, and that works. So you got to be careful with it, but it is allowable. And one thing, if you use these fine ladies right here, they know how to negotiate and possibly be able to get some help from the seller that you can use towards your closing costs as well. And they know how to do that, so I'm not going to spend time on that part. They'll
Thank you.
negotiate to give you some.
Yes, we do, Brian.
Yes,
Yes,
we
we do. Now, thank you so much for those tips. And I know we're going to definitely have your contact information. But if you wanted a quick phone number you want to put out to say, if somebody's interested or hearing this information and want to find out if they are able to get pre-qualified, pre-approved from you, who should they call? I know you work all the time.
That goes with what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I love to have the conversations up front. So when people call, let's talk about what you want to do. And my number is 772-486-3049. And let's just consult. Let's talk about your scenario. Let's see what options up front could work best for you, and just make the whole process easier. Once you know how much money you can spend and how much money you're going to have to use for a down payment, it makes the shopping for the home so much easier.
All right.
Absolutely. Now that leads us to our next thing is
Our word of the day.
yes. So the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification.
Pre-qualifications.
And I'll
Right.
say this before you start is that people, please listen to this, because people come and like, oh yes,
I've been pre-qualified.
and not sure of the difference. And it makes a difference to the seller to see
yes.
where you are. So Peter, Brian, tell us the exact difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification.
All right. It's quite simple, to be honest. A pre-approval is basically maybe you do an online application for somebody, you have a conversation, they don't pull credit, they don't see any of your information, but hey, your story sounds great, go buy this $400,000 home, but there's no proof that you can actually qualify that. It's just based off of a conversation or an online application with nothing done behind the scenes. So you want the full approval where we're pulling your credit, we're verifying your assets, we're verifying your income, we're seeing all that paperwork. That is a full pre-approval. That's where somebody is taking the time to gather the paperwork and give you confidence that you can go out and whatever the price range is you're looking at, we've run the numbers, we've done the scenarios, and it makes sense. And kind of like they were saying earlier, I get a lot of phone calls from sellers. When they receive my pre-approval letter, they ask, how far did you go? How do you know this person is qualified? So make sure you're getting a pre-approval and be prepared to have your paperwork ready so that it's done and ready to go right.
All right, perfect.
Thanks, Brian.
I know, that was great. Now, of course, I hope you guys learned something today. I sure did.
I definitely did. Yes.
So thank you, Bryant Stuckey, one of the best mortgage brokers out there. So again, guys, you've been watching Brevard Realty Buzz. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.